All right, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1999 Honda Prelude. Up front is a 2.2 liter inline 4 and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. If you'd like to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive. But let's get back to that 2.2 liter. It is an H22A engine. It is a dual overhead cam with VTEC engine. And it's actually not the same engine that you get in the Accord or Civic. It's actually its own engine for the Prelude, which is really, really neat. That being said, it's not super hard to find parts for, which is awesome, although the rest of the car is, and we'll get to that later. But it's actually a really peppy engine. It's a little 2.2 liter, and it is paired to an automatic transmission, but you can still feel the extra torque over, like say, a Civic's 1.6 or 1.8 liter. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission, and of course, I would probably prefer a manual, but that being said, it's actually not that bad of a transmission. I haven't had too many issues, although I have heard that higher mileage Preludes do suffer from transmission issues, so if you're looking to buy a higher mileage one, you might want to look into that. But I have no complaints about the automatic. It's nice and smooth, and you can put it in 1, 2, or 3 if you really want to hold it in a gear. And last but not least, the Honda Prelude is front-wheel drive, which I always expected these cars to be rear-wheel, but it is front-wheel drive. It's a very long-nosed front-wheel drive car. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 analog gauges. On the far left is my coolant temperature, on the center left is my tachometer, and on the right is my speedometer and fuel. I really like the gauges. They're really simple and they're really easy to read. I really like 90s gauges because they just were so simple. They weren't really too cluttered with other things. They're just everything you need to know, and that's it. And if you notice, if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, this car only has 77,000 miles on it, which really drew me to the car. It is one of the cleanest Preludes, probably the cleanest Prelude I have ever seen in my whole life. So of course you gotta film it. On the steering wheel, I actually just have cruise control options and the 2 horn buttons, which are kind of funny. To the left, I have a cruise control on and off, the sunroof buttons, and then my dimmer switches. And on the door, I just have my power mirrors and power window options. In the center, I do get a really nice little digital clock. It's really easy to read, and I really like it. I just like digital clocks in cars. And then down below that, we have heating and air conditioning. Nothing really too crazy there. It's your pretty standard Honda AC controls. And then a radio, which this is the stock radio. I don't know why it says acoustic feedback system. I have no idea what that means. I feel like that's just, Honda jargon for it's a nice sound system, but it is completely stock. You can adjust your fade and balance and stuff like that, and I think that's really neat. Then we have a 12-volt outlet. The shifter, which I don't mind the shifter. I keep getting stuck going from reverse to drive on the little notch. It's probably me just being horrible, but it is one of those sort of jigsaw shifters. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but it works, and I really can't complain about it. Down on the center console, I do have a little ashtray and then a cup holder, which you can actually slide the middle divider out of the way. So if you just want it as a regular little cubby hole to put whatever you want, you can do that. Or you can slide out the divider and have 2 cups. That's actually really smart thinking, and I really like that. The seats are nice and comfortable. They are very clearly out of the 90s because of the pattern on them, which I actually sort of like. This car is very much a period correct car because it's completely stock from the 90s. But I really like it. And speaking of seats, this car does have back seats, although it is a coupe, so we will do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1999 Honda Prelude, and it is not that great. It actually really reminds me of the Acura RSX that I just reviewed. Very similar back seats. There is no storage back here. I get, interestingly enough, the driver's side gets a cup holder, but the passenger side does not. I also get an ashtray, so I can smoke and drink in the back, but I guess the passenger side cannot. There are 4 seat belts. It's technically a 2+2 because there's no middle seat, no middle seat belt. But this is seats if you need it. As you can see, my head's hitting the top as well as hitting the rear window, and this would not be comfortable on anything more than a 30-minute drive. So it does have back seats if you absolutely need them, or if you have small kids, they would be perfect. But for regular-sized adults, this is not the best. Now we got to talk about the looks. I really like the look of the Prelude. I think it looks really sporty. I think it kind of looks kind of funny because it is a front-wheel drive car and the nose is so long. But that being said, I really do like the looks of the car. I think it's a good looking, solid car, and this is completely rust free, so this is what the Prelude looked like when it rolled off the factory floor, and it's a good looking car. Now they do have a higher trim level that came with a spoiler and stuff, but honestly I think all Preludes look good, and yes, these are the stock wheels as well. Overall, I have to say I really do like the Prelude. I think it's one of the more underappreciated Hondas, especially from the 90s. I have to say it's probably the underappreciated Honda. And I'm kind of torn because I understand why they don't make it anymore, but I wish that they did. I wish that they did because it's such a cool, different car. You know, there's so many Honda Civics, so many Honda Accords that they just kind of, you know, they get bland over time. But Preludes have always sort of been the odd child, and I really like that. I like the uniqueness of it. But I understand why they got rid of it, because there wasn't really a huge market for it. If you wanted a two-door quick car from Honda, you could get the Accord V6 with a manual, with 2 doors, and you were fine. If you wanted a little bit smaller economy car, you would get the Civic. And so there wasn't really a huge market for the Prelude, and it was also not super priced towards the everyday person, at least at the time. And so I kind of understand it. This is sort of the iPod Touch of cars, because you could get the iPhone if you want phone, or you could get the iPad if you're just going to stay at home. There's no real market for iPod Touches anymore, and so they went away, and that's exactly what happened with the Prelude. There wasn't really a market for it, so it just kind of faded away, and I really wish that Honda would bring this back. Toyota brought back the Supra. You know, maybe there's a market segment for the Prelude. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I really do like this car. It's a lot quicker and it's a lot peppier than I thought it was going to be. I really thought it was going to feel like a D16 Honda Civic motor, but it's not. It has a lot more torque. It's a lot peppier, and it's a dual overhead cam with VTEC. So it's not the slowest car in the world. It makes around 200 horsepower, which is really impressive, especially not only for the time, but for a front-wheel drive car. That's really nice. Well, I want to give a huge thank you to Isaiah for letting me do this review. I will leave a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. He has been making videos about this car, so if you guys are interested in Preludes, definitely go hit that up. It'll be in the description. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.